As you know, this outing's taken on a different complexion this year. We lost our brother, Jack Springmire, Otis. The inspiration for this outing back in June, unexpectedly. For those of you who met Otis, you all knew the kind of person he was. But there's some people that are here today that really didn't know him. For those people, and as a reminder to us who did know him, wanted to take a little time to give you a snapshot of the man and his impact on us. First off, I've had many inquiries as to why Jack was called Otis. So his childhood friend and the original commissioner of this outing for the first 20 years, Bill Pieper, he explained it at Jack's funeral luncheon. So in high school back in Rochelle, Illinois, Jack was a huge Oakland Raiders fan. And one day when he was watching a game, as I'm sure you've seen on TV, players announce themselves, their position, and what college they came from. So you might see a player say, Joe Jones, offensive tackle, University of Michigan. Well, there was a player on the Raiders, you might remember him. He was a bald guy. His name was Otis Sistrunk. And when he came on, he announced himself as Otis Sistrunk, defensive tackle, University of Mars. Somehow that grabbed Jack, and he loved the introduction, so he became known as Otis from that day forward. That's how he got his name. So this outing started as Otis's bachelor party back in 1989 with 16 golfers. It's now grown to a record 60 golfers.
Yeah.
Most unlikely and sad turn of events is now transformed into his memorial. So on a lighter note, to summarize an observation that was shared by one of his other childhood friends, Ted Wilkinson, who's Wilk's brother, he said this at the funeral luncheon. Otis epitomized the concept that you don't have to be good at golf to have an outing named after. I guess you just have to know the right people. So how would I describe Otis? Well, when you met him for the first time, it was like meeting your undiscovered best friend.
Here.
His hearty handshake could cause you pain, but his smile would light up the room. He was one of the most thoughtful, caring, and kind men I've ever met in my life. He was one of the few people that still sent postcards to his friends while they're on vacation. Nobody does that anymore. He'd take the time to send a text to his friends and their children, wishing them a blessed day on, certain occasions, important occasions. He did that for me and my son Eric on Father's Day morning. That was the last day of his life on this earth. He had a great sense of humor. He could tell stories that would make you break out in laughter. We shared a lot of those moments. He had a passion for sports. He loved the Cubs and the Bears and the Louisville Cardinals. I don't really know why, but and of course he loved the Oakland Raiders at one time. So if you notice the sponsorship on the 18 tee box, he was a great manager and leader of our 16-inch church softball team. We won 8 division titles in the late 80s and early 90s when we were a lot younger and we could run. And we had a winning streak of 52 straight games under his leadership. So, and as I said earlier, he had a great sense of humor. I have one funny story to share in that regard. So one of his earliest jobs, he worked for Sports Phone. This was a time back in the day where there was no internet, and other than newspapers, sports phones were where you would get your scores and your sports news of the day. You'd call their number, and you'd hear that voice, Jack Springmire for Sports Phone, and then he'd give you all the scores. So that announcer voice later became apparent in one of the most unlikely situations. So before he became our coach, one of his earliest games as a player, we were playing our big church rival, Trinity Lutheran Burr Ridge, at their field. So it was a field that had a wooded area. It flanked the first base of the right field line. I was playing shortstop that day, so our catcher, Marty Hartley, had given Otis some stickum to rub on his hands for better gripping the bat at the plate. So when Otis took the field at second base in the bottom of the first, he had a routine ground ball hit to him. As he fielded the ball cleanly and started to make the short throw to first, the ball stuck in his right hand, went right over the first baseman's head and into the woods. Now here's where his sports film background came in handy. As the ball traveled into the trees, I heard him give the one and only play-by-play I ever heard a player give when he made an error. He said, and he throws it away. That was his wit and his sense of humor. You should never laugh at a teammate when they make an error like that, but I should tell you, I was laughing. I mean, I probably wasn't the only one. But Otis lived a life of gratitude. At his funeral, Joe, you remember, you were there.
Yes.
The priest in his sermon commented that whenever you asked Otis how he was, he would say, I'm blessed. He was grateful for the life he was given. That's why the koozies that you received today were designed and created by Joe and his wife Candace, who helped out.
Not in that order.
Not in that order. And a big thank you to Walt Myers for providing those koozies for us. So, as a Cub fan, I'm also mourning one of the best to ever wear a Cubs uniform. That's Ryan Sandberg. So in Ryan Sandberg's speech at the statue unveiling at Wrigley Field last year, he shared that faith, family, friends, and love were very good words. He said, quote, they are probably the best words for me. I'm not here without all of those words. Those 4 words define Otis as well, along with his passion for sports. As a friend and brother who loved him and misses him every day, I offer this challenge to all of you. Be like Otis. Be passionate as a fan, whether it's for a team or teams, or just a fan of whatever activity you like to do in your life. Love and care for your family. Embrace and love your friends. Call them, text them, spend time with them. Cling tightly to your faith. You do these things, I can pretty much assure you that in your life, you'll experience fulfillment and joy. The world will be a better place, and you will be blessed like Otis. We miss you, Otis, and you'll never be forgotten.